One of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States of America. And this is an extension of that legacy. Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body. I had a member of the Republican caucus threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened. Thank you.
It's a great defense of Representative Ilhan Omar by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez there, pointing out the 2 decades of rampant Islamophobia that's become totally normalized in America. No one in the Republican Party, no one on Fox News or independent Republican media feels at all worried at all about trafficking in the worst sorts of Islamophobic hate and all of that when it comes to Representative Ilhan Omar, and they got what they wanted yesterday. Representative Omar was kicked off of a committee that the Republicans say that she's not qualified to be on because she dared to criticize the Israeli government, which isn't allowed. That's a part of cancel culture that they're perfectly happy with. You will be canceled if you criticize this foreign government or a particular politician or a particular party inside of it. You can't do that. And interestingly, when talking about qualifications, they think that she's not qualified to be on that. I think that AOC did a great job of pointing out that someone like Marjorie Greene is on Homeland Security. It is designed to protect the homeland and its security and all of that. And yet she says things like there's space lasers that are starting wildfires.
I think we need to have a conversation about priorities here. We're having a hearing right now, and it's about that the federal government is too woke. There are actual crises happening in this country. A couple weeks ago, there was a devastating derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. And yesterday, I was just lucky enough to wrap up a hearing early. And I was going back to my office. It was not scheduled. It wrapped up early. And there were people from East Palestine at my door because they weren't getting a response in their own other levels of government. And so they were just roaming around waiting for anybody to open their door to them to talk to them, any member of Congress to talk to them.
And the reason they were there, the reason that they were looking for someone is that they believe that government has a function to fulfill. And they further believe that maybe, just maybe, somebody in government will take that seriously. But unfortunately, despite the fact that the Republicans have talked a lot about East Palestine, doesn't really mean that they're focused on doing much about it. It's a convenient thing to attack Biden on, maybe get a few shots in on Buttigieg, but no, they're done with that, and they're on to wokeness in the federal bureaucracy, because that's fun to talk about. It's exciting, it makes for a good distraction, and you don't have to actually do anything. No matter what you do, nothing that will be discussed in these hearings, no change that's proposed, no regulations or deregulation that come from it will in any way even slightly threaten the interests of those in a position of economic dominance.
Mr. O'Day, do you make brentuximab? Do you know what brentuximab is?
I do not. I'm sorry, Congressman.
Brentuximab vedotin is the drug that I took when I was suffering from Hodgkin's lymphoma, a drug that was created, built, manufactured, developed, designed, created by a private company that made a lot of money. And I'm really glad they did. I hope they make a lot more. But to sit here and attack the capitalistic system that produces and distributes medicine to saving lives around the world, I mean, it is just offensive. I mean, I just cannot possibly understand why we're spending time sitting here while I listen to people lecturing companies about making money. I hope you make a lot of money. But this absurd attack on profit being evil. We don't go down. How much cash on hand does Apple have? $245 billion. How much has Apple done to go cure health? It is a good thing that Apple makes a crap ton of money making these things so that we can have them and distribute them and use them for great additions and benefits to the world. And it is the same thing in the medicine.
We heard earlier today an impassioned plea about profits and about how a corporation like Apple should be able to enjoy that. Well, I know a woman, her name is Amy Villela, and her daughter died because she went to a hospital and told them that she wasn't insured. And they said, come again in a month when you do have insurance. Well, her blood clot didn't wait a month. Her daughter died at 22 years old. What Amy says, what Ms. Villela says is, this is a commodity. Her daughter's life was not. People's lives are not commodities. When we talk about economics, there's something known as a demand curve with elasticity. And with every other commodity, you can say, how much is this phone worth to you? And you can say $100, $200. You can buy a Nokia phone. You can not have a phone at all. But you cannot ask the question, how much will you pay to be alive? How much will you pay to live? Because the answer is everything. The answer is you will pay $10, you will pay $1,000, you will go into debt, you will do anything to live. And that is what makes the price of medicine different than the price of an iPhone.
That's what an uncorrupted politician looks like. Now imagine if we had 535 of them in Congress actually representing us instead of their corporate donors. I can't believe that that guy cried defending his corporate donors. So understand that he didn't cry because, oh my God, a good drug saved my life. We all are in favor of drugs, we're all in favor of science, and I had a drug save my life. But listen to what Anna just told you. In the case of the drug that she mentioned, they sell it in other countries for $60 and still make a profit. $60 a year, they wouldn't sell it if they didn't make a profit. They sell it here in America for $20,000. Is that because that's capitalism? No. It's crony capitalism because they've captured the government by bribing people like that Republican politician that you saw. And honestly, a lot of Democratic politicians too. That's why AOC gets under their skin because she doesn't take bribes. So she's allowed to actually call it what it is.